Meet Kevin just keeps talking about this private plane that he bought. He put out a new video about it, breaking down the costs and trying to justify the reason for having one, when in reality, there really isn't a reason for Meet Kevin himself to have one. This private jet is going to be a major thing that bankrupts Meet Kevin because he just simply cannot afford it. No matter how much he wants to say that it's the greatest investment known to man, he can fly here and there and do whatever he needs for house hack. He doesn't need it for house hack. It seems like he is trying to play CEO instead of actually be one. We can see in this, he breaks down the fixed costs for his private plane, salaries for the pilots, $470,000 a year, salary additions, $141,000, training, $50K hangar, $50K insurance, $40K in management, $60,000. This all totals up to $921,000 a year in fixed costs. Whether or not you fly that plane, you have to pay it. So already starting off pretty strong here with almost $1 million in costs that you have to pay every year, whether or not you use this plane. And he's broke down the variable costs, I guess hourly. He broke down the hourly for like flight hours. I think that's how he broke this down, saying, maintenance 125, engine 250, tires, brakes 30, gas 915, and then for the total would be $1,320 per hour that you fly this plane. So if we take something just modest, I guess, say 3-hour flights 3 times a week, you can have the 1320 per hour. So you do that, but then 3 times a week could cost $11,880 per week in cost. So $47,520 per month that should cost to do this whole plane thing. And if you want to do a yearly, $570,000 per year to operate this plane. So if you add that to the fixed cost here, you can see it's almost $1.5 million per year to just simply own and fly this plane. Now, could you take that money and use it for your startup? Much better, maybe spend $500,000 on travel, flying normal airlines and normal hotels, because at the end of the day, he says he has to do this so that he can come back and film YouTube videos, but you can film YouTube videos in a hotel. You don't have to be at your setup to film a video. If you are that dedicated to uploading a YouTube video, you can travel and upload a video. It's not like that's not possible to do. Because at the end of the day, House Hack, his startup company that he says is going to be a multi-billion-dollar corporation, he's going to be amazing, it's a startup. You don't have luxuries in a startup. Jeff Bezos didn't fly on a private jet when he was starting Amazon. Elon Musk didn't fly on a private jet starting Tesla. Steve Jobs didn't fly on a private jet when he started Apple. Those are luxuries. These are things that multi-billion and trillion-dollar corporations that have already made it and already successful and cash flowing, those are luxuries they can afford to take. When you're a startup, you don't take luxuries because you want to do everything in your power to make sure that this thing's successful. But Meet Kevin doesn't have that risk because he offloaded the risk for House Hack. He let you invest in it. He owns what, like 20% of the company? He has 100% of the voting power, but owns like 20% of the company. If he truly thought this was some multi-billion-dollar unicorn company, why would he immediately sell shares to you instead of try and do this and keep as much equity as possible to himself?
So a round trip flight to Salt Lake costs about $4,136. Compare that round trip flight to a charter going to Salt Lake at about $22,000. You can see it's less than 1/5 of the price.
This to me is an extremely weird comparison, right? Kevin trying to justify this private jet by saying, look, it's so much cheaper than flying on a private charter. Why are you comparing it to that? It's not what you compare it to. Compare it to the cheapest way for you to get around or the flights that you could get on a normal economy plane, because at the end of the day, you should be wanting to grow your startup and make it as successful as possible and put least risk of that startup in jeopardy, which means you fly economy. And we can see right here, this is the economy prices. This is like an airport around where Kevin lives to Salt Lake City. You can see $325 round trip. That is drastically less expensive than his private plane, and even more drastically less expensive than the private charter that he was comparing it to. But you can do this. You could very easily fly on economy, even if you wanted to treat yourself. Let's say we'll go first class and go bougie because you need the luxuries. It's $745, $800 for a round trip. So you can still get first class and pretend be a CEO in first class, and you can still do it for drastically less than this private plane. And that would put less risk on the startup, give it a better chance at success. And if we go back, we know that the total cost of this jet's gonna be somewhere around $1.5 million per year, about, roughly. It could be less, could be more, who really knows? But he says that his media business is gonna pay this, not Househack, even though he's setting up the story for Househack to actually make those payments. But we'll go over that in a little bit here, but you can see 1.5 million. And Meet Kevin, this is Social Blades, this is estimates. Let's take the top end estimate, makes $340,000 per year on YouTube. So you can see right here, let's subtract $340,000 per year, and we have a $1.15 million deficit. Where's that money coming from? After all, Meet Kevin said no more sponsorships, no more this, no more that. I mean, maybe his course revenue could make up for it. I don't know. Maybe he does have his fly with Meet Kevin, which the price went up to $3,900. It was $29 before. Now it's $4,000. So maybe this subsidizes it a little bit, but I just don't think like this media business that he says is going to pay for this is actually going to be able to pay for this. And he actually sets that up in the beginning of this video where he tries to make a point saying Househack has paid $0 for this jet, and then tries to say like, but it would make sense for it to pay, right?
Multiple flights to look at real estate. Househack has been billed a grand total of $0. Now, you might think, wait, that's crazy. Like, I came here to learn about the cost of a private jet, but why would you not bill your housing startup for you flying around on a private jet?
I think that's a pretty interesting switch for Kevin, right? Because originally when he bought this, it was the media company's the only thing that's going to pay for this. It is the media company's jet, not Househack's. And then it went to, well, maybe we will bill Househack for the travels of real estate stuff, to now trying to gaslight you, saying, but it would make so much sense. Like, why aren't you billing Househack for this jet? What are you doing? So I just think that's pretty interesting. That's his, big moves, because originally it was Househack will never pay for this, to Househack might be billed for this. So now he's trying to get you to shift your mind into that thinking, like it would make sense for Househack to do this because clearly he's using the jet for Househack. Househack should be paying for it. And then Kevin ends this video off by literally comparing his company to Walmart.
A lot of things to consider when it comes to private flight, but I personally think if you're considering flying private, well, first of all, you better have a really good reason to be flying around, and this is why you see corporate jet travel, like the Walmart vice presidents travel around together on a private jet.
Because yes, Kevin, Walmart, a $400 billion company, is completely comparable to your startup, Househack. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.